Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. The aftermath of the Gen Z-led protest that went for several weeks is still here with us. People are still talking about it. The question is it the end of the beginning, or it is just the beginning of the end? Because Raila Amolo Odinga allowed 4 of his senior members of the ODM party to join government. And after several speculations, Raila said that he did that to save this nation. And he said that when William Ruto approached him, the country was in a crisis and he had to come in as always to save the country. I have been asking this question, but no one is trying to answer. Why did William Ruto approach Raila to help him? Why did he approach Raila to donate some of his members to join the cabinet? Whenever I ask this question, most people are emotional. And instead of trying to answer why William Ruto took some of the ODM members, they are busy telling me Raila betrayed us. And I have said before, yes, I have had enough of Raila betrayed you. But why did William Ruto? Because when you listen to the diehards or those who are close to William Samoei Ruto, something is coming up very clearly. That William Ruto was about to step down. He was about to resign, or he was about to be kicked. The fear and the reality of exiting State House was real. I have listened to Raila Odinga, I have listened to William Ruto, and I have listened to Musalia Mudavadi. And one thing that is very clear is William Ruto was staring very closely at a possibility of being ousted. And his main fear was his deputy was about to take over, but he was not very ready to hand over power to his deputy. Because according to the information that they have been giving, is that he was being sabotaged by his deputy. But now, William Ruto knew very well that when push came to shove, then the military was going to take over. That has been the thing. And I want you to listen to the scaremongery by Musalia Mudavadi. And I don't know whether to call it scaremongery or it is the reality. But Mudavadi is telling us that we were about to cross the red line and the military was about to take over. But they are telling us, for those who are talking about the military, that when military takes over, it is never peaceful. In many occasions, they suspend the constitution. That is what Raila alludes to. Let us listen to Mudavadi, and you will realize when you listen very carefully to Musalia Mudavadi, William Ruto feared that the military will take over. Let's listen to Musalia Mudavadi.
Barenu. Lunga Lunga hoye. Kwale hoye. Sasa mimi sitaki kusema mengi kwa sababu rais akishasema tunapunguza sauti. Kile nataka tunihimize ni kimoja. Mumeona rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya akisimama hapa na anahutubu, anazungumza kuhusu maendeleo. Je, nataka niwaulize wale wako katika Sudan, nchi ambayo imeporomoka, kuna vita, kila siku marisasi na mabomu zinaruka. Nataka niwaulize, je, kule kunaweza kuwa na mkutano kama huu, watu kuongea maendeleo? Inawezekana? Basi la muhimu kabisa, msingi ambayo ni lazima tusichezee kamwe, ni msingi ambayo unalinda amani. Tunaenda kwa uchaguzi kila baada ya miaka 5 kwa sababu katiba yetu iko katiba ambayo inasema demokrasia ndio njia ya kupata uongozi, sio njia za mkato. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niwashukuru wakaaji ama wenyeji wa Kwale na viongozi wa hapa, kwa sababu ule msukusuku ulikuweko kidogo, sasa unazidi kudidimia. Lakini la muhimu, tudumishe amani, ndio taifa letu liende mbele. Hatuwezi kujenga aggregation parks hatuwezi kujenga yale madaraja, hatuwezi kujenga mashule, hatuwezi kujenga mahospitali ikiwa tutaingia kwa vita. Na msiende mbali. Mkiwa na nafasi kwa masimu zenu hizi, mimi najua mnaona YouTube, mnaangalia yale yanatendeka. Weka angalia Al Jazeera kidogo, uone yale yanafanyika Sudan, yale yanafanyika Gaza, yale yanafanyika Ukraine na nchi zingine za Afrika. Alafu mtajua kwamba kucheza na amani ni hatari. Kwa hivyo vijana wetu, ndugu zetu, hata mkiwa na shida, tutumie njia ya halali ya kidemokrasia tutatue.
The sentiments by Mudavadi cannot be taken lightly because we've had political altercations in this country since 2007, 2013, 2017, but I've never had leaders coming outrightly and talking about the military takeover. Yes, I've heard some street politics, people talking about the military is divided, the military might take over, but I've never had a president, a minister, I've never had any member of the political class coming out in public and talking about the military. For the very first time in the history of our country, we've had people talking about the military. The person talking there is the chief minister. That is the man who remained when William Ruto dissolved the cabinet. That is the person that William Ruto has always sent to go and represent him on presidential errands, presidential functions. He's coming out and is now comparing, telling us that we should be watching Al Jazeera and we see what is happening in other countries. In other words, Mudavadi is alluding to some facts, that it is just by a whisker that William Ruto survived because he's got some information. It is saying that we were about to go the Sudan way. Where did they get this information? That is the Prime Minister talking. Now, Raila Muludinga also spoke about it, and Raila was telling us that we were close to surrendering our power or the governance of the nation to the military. And Raila is saying that we should remember that the military do not have the water cannons or tear gas. When they come with bullets and those barrels and you know, basically very heavy weapons, because the military is trained to protect us from external aggression. And this is why I'm telling you that when Raila talks about the military and Musalia Mudavadi talks about the military, it is very true that William Ruto was facing just a moment before he went. Now, the other impression that Musalia Mudavadi and the entire political class that is talking about the military is trying to give us is they are painting a picture of a divided military. And I will tell you why. When they start comparing Kenya, and in fact Musalia Mudavadi was saying that most people are now saying that they kind of praise what is happening in Burkina Faso, where is it Traore who took over and is leading that nation. He has the interest of the people at heart. And they've been watching very closely how people analyze sentiments. And people are saying that we should go the West African way because in Mali and Burkina Faso, I think they decided to take over. It is only in Senegal where an election was done and the deep state project was defeated, pants down. And so they are saying that we look at Egypt, we look at South and Northern Sudan, where the military took over, but there isn't any peace. Why? We had several groups within the military that decided to jostle for power. And if that is what Musalia Mudavadi is telling us, then it means that our military is divided. Because otherwise, why should we be afraid that we will go the Egypt way? By the way, the nations that experienced the Arab Spring have never bounced back. Why? There are several military wings. Even in North Sudan, we have two sides of the military fighting. The interim that was that makeshift interim that was given to govern the country. And every now and then they fight. You've seen them sometimes Ruto trying to broker peace, but one side is saying we don't trust you. But now Musalia Mudavadi is telling us that our military is divided, because what should have happened in an ideal situation is the military takes over, because the military is a complete government. They have every profession within their ranks: engineers, teachers, even if you want pastors, you will get them there. So if the military takes over, they run the government, and in my very considered opinion, they should do that as they arrange for elections. But now, if the political class feels that we can go the Sudan way, then it means they're telling us that several groupings will form within the military and people will start fighting within the military. Why would Mudavadi be telling us something about the military? We've never had this before. And if they feel that we have to use the very constitutional means, then let them themselves respect the constitution. It starts at the time of election. You see, when people come from an election which they feel was bungled, then you don't talk about constitution. You don't tell people about the constitution. For several months or years, people have challenged the IEBC to open the server to see who exactly won, and they have refused. And many people feel that Wafula Chebukati, Madam Hot Air, Madam Kome, Madam Meg Whitman are the people who gave William Ruto his victory, unconstitutional. That's what many people feel. And now when you have a people who are disgruntled, people who feel that they voted but their votes never counted. In other words, it is like an indirect disenfranchisement, because they vote but their voices are not taken seriously. Then you don't come and tell them about the constitution. When we have a country where the president can tell us that we will not respect court orders, then you cannot talk to us about a constitution. You see, the president must show by action that he respects our constitution. In fact, when he was taking oath of office, we gave him a sword and we gave him a constitution which he swore to defend. We have several cases where the president is telling us that he's not listening to them. As we speak, we have the police in Haiti against court orders that had told William Ruto that we do not have the mandate to take our police to Haiti, but he ignored them. So how then do you talk to us about our constitution, the rule of law? I mean, the police is using extrajudicial means on the streets. We have a country that is almost plunging into anarchy. We have the entire government that does not respect the constitution. Then you tell us that you're talking about the constitution. But the fear is real. And I'm sure from what I've heard, Raila talks about, whatever he talks about, there was real fear and the military was about to take over. I don't know, but I feel that it would have been better in the hands of the military. Even though if you see people like Raila, maybe they've got much experience politically and they feel that it would have gone the wrong way. And according to them, Raila feels he saved the country, that the country was in a crisis. But how exactly did we find ourselves in this crisis? Who plunged this country into that crisis? It is William Ruto. For example, why is he now coming up with the government of national unity? Immediately he took oath of office against the chagrin of the people. He would have formed that government a long time ago. He would have just called, a few members and told them, let us make this government. Not just thumping to an extent that people have to die before he gives us a government of national unity. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I know it is just the end of the beginning, because I never believed that, and I never imagined that there would come a time when people will be talking publicly about a military takeover. And it is not just the people who are spreading rumors. We have senior political members talking about a military takeover. It's not just a rumor. And I know it was real, because how did Raila or Mudavadi know that we were about to surrender to the military? And I know that is the fear. And that is why William Ruto decided to bring in Raila very fast to avoid a military takeover.